In today's video we're going to be replacing the front and rear tires on the bike, and in so doing I'll have to take the front and rear wheels off the bike because I'm going to be bringing it into the dealership to get them to do the job. One of the dealerships quoted me a price of $36 per wheel to change the tires and balance the wheel, and another dealership estimates to charge $130 to do both, so half an hour's work of for each wheel. And so you know, obviously I'm going to go with the cheaper one, but today I just wanted to show you how to remove the rear wheel and then how to remove the front wheel on the R1200RS. Now, I don't own a pair of paddock stands for this bike, so the bike is right now on the center stand, and what I propose to do is to remove the front wheel first, and then using a jack, a floor jack underneath this part of the bike, hold up the front or support the front as I remove the front wheel. And then I'm going to have both wheels off the bike at the same time, and bring the wheels to the dealership, get them to do their job, and then I'll bring the wheels back to the bike, put them back on. The bike is on the center stand, and because the center of gravity is forward of the center stand, the bike is head down, so that means that the front wheel is always on the ground, so it tends to want to tip forward. So that means the back is well off the ground, and we can get that off first. What I intend to do is to remove the top box to reduce the weight on the back, to make the front go down even more, or the tendency for the front to be down even more, where I can control using the jack, as I said, on the here, I can control the height and everything. I've never taken the front wheel off of this bike. I've taken the rear wheel off before. The rear wheel is very easy, and the book, I think, recommends that you just rotate the exhaust. I usually find it just as easy to remove the exhaust, so this video will show you how to remove the exhaust as well, and then I'll take the wheel off, and then we'll be done with that, and then we'll move on to the front wheel. The front wheel is a lot more involved because we've got to remove the brakes, the brake calipers, and on the other side we've got to remove the speed sensor as well, and you know, support the front wheel, and then take this axle out. To do that, you need a special tool, which I bought. Some people make their own tool, but for the price of, I don't know, 12 bucks or whatever it costs, I'm just going to have a nice tool specialized for that job. First thing to do is to remove the heat shield, and for this you'll need a Torx, a T25 Torx. Get this off. So get these two bolts out, and then just pull it out from this clip. Next, you have to take this nut off so that you can get this out. And while you're doing that, you've also got to remove from the hanger here, I don't know if you can see that, the exhaust hanger here has to be removed. Unscrew this, and then you can pull the whole exhaust off. That done, just slacken it off. It's got a band here, so I'm just going to slacken that nut off, and then I'll take this hanger off. T40 removes this bolt. Sorry if you can't see right now because of the foot peg, but I put the foot peg back there. It doesn't really matter. Take this off. Make sure you keep all your parts in a safe place. There it goes, comes off like that. Put that over here. And then we should be able to wiggle our exhaust off. Rock it a little bit and work it off. With the exhaust off, you just have to remove these 5 Torx bolts, and the wheel comes right off. You might want to take this opportunity now to give the rim a little bit of a wipe down. As you can see, I'm wiping it down with one of my favorite rags. It has got a little bit of grease on it. I want that grease on it because it's gonna shine up the rims nicely and put a little bit of a protective layer on that when I give this over to the dealership to go and replace this. So when I take it back, it's easier to inspect and see if there's any nicks and scratches or anything like that. The wheel is clean. The wheel was not too dirty before. I mean, it hadn't been washed for a little while, and so it wasn't too bad. So I can wipe it with that and not scuff or scar the finish. One thing I forgot to mention: you need to put the bike into gear before you start taking this off. And I would put it into first gear and then take this off. You need a T50 Torx tool with an extension on your ratchet to remove these bolts. Like that. And then I've already pre-loosened the others, so it's just a matter of undoing the bolts. There's the bolt. Bolt looks like that. Get them all off. When you're going to get the last one off, you want to be kind of sitting under in way of the wheel, whoops, so that you can support it as you take that last bolt off. So I got all my bolts off except one. Now I get underneath, use my legs, support the wheel, take the last one off. Wish the front wheel was this easy. And there you go. There's the wheel off. Oops. I just put it, I just rested the wheel against the caliper. Bonehead move. Alright. Let's wipe the rest of the wheel down and set this wheel aside. Now we're working on the right side caliper first. We got to remove these two bolts. So using a, what size is this? Using a 13mm socket. Holding the wheel steady with your foot. Get that done. That's slackened off. Remove these two bolts. There's the two bolts. Okay. Set those aside. And then this caliper should just come right off. You see it wanted to come off right there. But before I do that, I need to get something to suspend the calipers. So I don't want it hanging from my brake line. So what I did is I got some bungee cords. I haven't suspended it yet on a trial basis before doing this video. So I'm going to go get my bungee cords and then we're going to see which one works. So I got this really nice, I don't know, 1 foot long bungee cord that is brand new. I never used before, and I don't really want to use it for a messy job like this. So I'm going to end up buying some cheap bungee cords about the same length just to do brakes and to do any other maintenance work that I might have on the bike. Now where to hook this on? I'm going to just hook it onto the mirror. So I've got it onto the mirror stock. I'm going to pull this off and see what happens. Oh, this is interesting. So this caliper is so big it doesn't want to come off from this. Now they mentioned something about pushing the pads back in against the rotor. So once you do that, you can slide it out. So you need to push the pad back in against the pistons. Looking at this, we still got some meat left on the pads, But when I come to reinstall this, I'm going to measure how much pad material I've got left. Maybe I got to start thinking about buying some pads, but that's a whole nother job. Let's get this hooked up and suspended. Where to suspend is a good question. Let's see, maybe stick it in here. No, the hook is a little too big. So let me go figure this out and I'll be back. So, looking around my shop or garage, this is what I found. This here is a rubber coated long twist tie that you can get at the hardware store, and I've never had a use for it until today. I've got it looped through the hole there, and that's going to hold. And then I just hook the other end onto the bungee cord and wrap it around like so, and I'm good. And I'll show you right now. This is what it looks like on this end, and let's see, that's what it looks like on the top end. So the whole thing is suspended. On the left side, we've got the connector here for the speed sensor, so we got to take that off. It uses a T30 Torx driver. Take that off and put the bolt, or put the screw. There's the screw. Put the screw side. Unfasten this from that. I think it should come out. Yeah, it comes out. It's got a little locator here that, well, actually this is the sensor. This is the sensor that goes through this hole and then picks up the reading from the ring on the outside. So since this has got to come off, you've got to unclip this and unclip that. Okay. Actually, this one stays. This one stays because this piece is not coming off. So you just got to unclip this part here when you take off the bolt. Okay, so that's simple. Take that off, put the bolt aside, and there it is. It's loose here. So that thing is, when I pick this off and I hang it to the side, I can't go too far because there's not a lot of play with this. So really, I would like to take this thing off, but it's bolted on there pretty good, and it's screwed on from the inside. So that's kind of dumb. So what I'll do is just feed this up a bit, and then I'll do my job here, rocking this thing back and forth to try and get the caliper off. Right, and then I'll hook this back on just for now, so I can get myself organized with my little thingy. Now, what I learned from before, from the other side, was to just loop this around, hook it on. You see, this is a brilliant thing. This is a twist tie. It's a rubber covered twist tie. Go get some of these. These things are great. Get some and keep it in your shop. So there, I've got it hanging from there. So now I just take this puppy off, right? And I can't go too far again, right? So I just pass it through the hole here, and then I just do that, twist it around like that, and make sure that I'm not straining this speed sensor wire. And it's dangling free now, out of the picture, I guess. It's dangling free, and it's not straining this. So now the adventure begins. We're going to take the wheel off. Okay? Now, in order to take the wheel off, I've got to support the front of the bike. And this is the underside of the engine. Okay? And I propose to use my floor jack. And I've got a nice piece of wood here. So I'm going to put this wood up to support, to take the load off of these four, I don't know what you call this structure here. Okay, and then support the wood from here with my floor jack. I'll do that now and show you afterwards. So here's the block of wood in place, and my floor jack is just snugged up, but the load is still on the front wheel, as you can see. The wheel, you want that wheel down on the floor initially, and have the floor jack on the ready. And here it is. This is old Canadian Tire floor jack. My God, I brought this from Canada when I came to the States. What's the strength of it? I don't know. Pretty useful little floor jack from Canadian Tire, and it's been serving me well over the years. Never did any maintenance in it. I hope it doesn't give out today. But I use that to support my truck, my half-ton truck. You know, any one of the wheels, and all the cars that I've had. So, good thing to have. Good. Now we're ready to remove the wheel. We've got to do these just slacken these screws or bolts on each side. Do that first, and then using this special tool here that I bought, I mentioned before, this tool, great tool, and using, I think it's the 22mm side. I'll show you on the other side when I get in there. Yeah, the 22. Using that, stick it in the other side, and use a hex driver on this side, and just pull the axle bolt right out. So I'll go ahead and slacken these off. Oh, by the way, it takes T45 to slacken them off. So let's get to work. Not much torque, so it's just a pinch bolt. We're going to talk about torques when we reinstall. So they're all slackened off. Now I've got to get the right driver to drive that, and I hope that I've got the right one. Well, as it turns out, I do not have the right size driver for that hex there. So I've got to go to the hardware store and get one. But in the meanwhile, before calling this job paused, what I did was I used my special tool, like I showed you before. I used my special tool and said, let's see if we can slacken it off from this side. And as luck would have it, yes, I can. So as you can see, I managed to slacken that off. So I'll take this off now to aid removal of this axle bolt. So here we go. So I was able to hold the other side steady while I unscrew it from this side. Oh man, the whole thing's loose now. As you can tell, see? It's loose. So now's a good time to actually go and take some load on the jack. Alright? So the front end is up. Now I checked, don't worry, I checked, and the bike is not going to tip over backwards. So no worries there. Let's take this wheel off. Sorry if I get into the way, but I'm here doing a job. So the left side came off. Okay, that's what it looks like. Set that aside and continue taking this thing out. You can just pull it out. It's an axle. So you need two hands. You need to support the wheel. Hopefully I'm shooting between my legs here. Support the wheel as you draw this thing out. Maybe I raised the front too quickly. So let's lower the front back down again. Just a tad. Okay. And there's a little bit of faffing around, but that's what you need to do. Pull this baby out. There it is. Front axle. And roll the wheel out. Yay! Wheels off. I'll show you the condition of these tires after I wipe this wheel down. Now, I don't know if you can see too well, but these are my two wheels, or two tires I should say, and boy oh boy oh boy, this is a Michelin Pilot PR4s. They've served me very very well, and but it's time for a change. This front tire, I think it's got approximately, I don't know, maybe 13,000 miles on it. Look at the profile. As you can see, it's kind of funny looking. It's got all kinds of scallops, and as you can see, it's right down to the wear bars. It's past the wear bars, I think. Look at this wear bar here. That wear bar is, look, it's all flush. This tire is worn out. The only thing left to see is the canvas underneath. It's a lot of scalloping. Let me show you as I rotate the tire against the concrete. You probably can see scalloping there. And if I ride, there's been a lot of talk on the forums about scalloping and, oh, the tires are... Hey, look, this is a heavy sport bike, and if you ride it hard and you brake hard, you're going to get some scalloping in the front. Some tires, I guess, exhibit less scalloping than others. A lot of people like to say that the PR4 scallop a lot, but at the end of the day, it still does its job. At certain riding speeds, you might find that it shimmies a bit, so the tire is not as stable, or the steering is not as stable, and there's a bit of a shake in the steering. But other than that, it doesn't matter a damn about the scalloping. Here's the rear. This rear tire has over 12,000 miles as well. I had this changed in 2016, and this is now started 2018, and you can see it's pretty much down to the wear bars here. It's still good for dry weather riding. I have no problems with it, but riding on paint lines or riding in the wet, it likes to squirm a little bit now, so time to change. But look at the sides. I mean, yes, a lot of my riding is commuting. I commute with my bike, and a lot of the riding is commuting. So I'm sorry, but I don't get a heck of a lot of riding done on the sides. Chicken strips here, not too wide, but they're still there, and there's a lot of meat left here. So the dual compound really does help with the wear. But there's no scalloping on this back tire. Back tire is in great condition, and both of them are going to be changed out today. This is a replacement tire. Dunlop Road Smart 3s. Still in the plastic. I don't want to take them out of the plastic because it's easier to handle with the two of them still in the plastic. So when I go there, I just give it to them to put them on. So lots of meat. So I have to go. I've got to get ready. I've got to go to the dealership, drop the tires and wheels off, and have them change it, and then we'll resume this when I pick the wheels back up.